Hi, everybody. Again, my apologies for being a little bit late there. It's hard to know exactly where to begin when you're sharing your challenge. First of all, it's important to always preface that everybody's health challenge, especially, oh, there it is, there we are, is, the process is the same. We may have different levels of pain, but the process is generally the same. You get
Oh,
to a point.
Michaela, I wanted to start off real quick. I know we have a very extensive story with you, so I'm going to help guide this very
Sure.
easily. So let's just start with this. Peter, do you have the picture of us?
Ah,
So
It's up right now.
we met Michaela. Sorry, I can't see her. There we go. So we met Michaela at the stem cell event hosted by R3 Stem Cell Company, and we started patching everyone, doctors, patients, vets, whoever it was. We said, hey, come by and we'll patch you. And we met Michaela as we were explaining this technology to everybody. So she came over to the booth, we patched her, we got to know her, and as you can see, she is in a wheelchair. And we'll start right there. So in this moment, I kind of just want everyone to understand, in your point of view, what was your condition like at this moment when we first met you? Just give us like a quick understanding of what happened and how you were at that time.
Sure. Well, first of all, I think it's really important that I preface with the fact that I had a very long medical history, a lot of spine surgeries, had been in the wheelchair for 8 years, had a stem cell transplant, which increased my quality of life by at least 75%. But where I was when I met Peter and Patrick and Jackson was I had the last 10 pounds of pain. It's the kind of, my condition was spine related. And so at that point, I could only sit for maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half without my spine starting to go out or the pain levels were too high that I had to lay down for at least half an hour every time that would happen. As far as walking, after my stem cell transplant in 2017, I went back into physical therapy because I was finally able to, and I learned to walk over the period of a year, but I could only walk within my home. So from one room to another, I could be vertical for maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes on a really good day. And that's with, sitting a little bit in between against a chair or what have you. My living outside of the house, I was 100% in my wheelchair, couldn't go anywhere. I wouldn't be able to walk long enough. Within like I said, about 10, 15 minutes, my spine would lock up, my legs would stop working. So, but I was grateful for what I had, but it was so hard still, just being able to be mobile and having 4 kids and a husband and doing what we do. And Veterans in Pain is an offshoot of my stem cell transplant, having worked with wounded warriors for so many years and saying, okay, this stem cell science, why don't they have access to this? This is crazy because of what it's done for me. So there we are. I'm trying to work. I'm working 60 hours a week. I'm easy in regards to facilitating veterans, getting their treatments and really learning, diving into this field of orthobiologics. And, we call it stem cells. The better term is maybe orthobiologics as an umbrella statement, is the regenerative science. So with that said, so here I am, I'm at this physician symposium. It's October 6th of last year. And I meet Peter and Patrick and Jackson, and they're all really funny and they're all really cute. I'm like, okay, I'm in, whatever it is, just slap it on me. By the next day, I started seeing results that I wasn't even expecting. I'm like, it's a patch. I'm sure it's going to take a while. And I was sitting at the symposium. It was 1:30. And I just kept sitting through the next speaker and the next speaker. Like, okay, this is crazy. I'm going to go with it. By 9:30 at night, I was still sitting upright. We'd gone through the entire symposium that day, and then it was time to go to dinner. And my husband's like, well, we should really go lay down. You should be laying flat by now. And I'm like, nope, don't want to do that. So then we went to dinner with our vets till 9:30 at night. So it was 1:30 to 9:30. Okay, this has got to be a freak of nature of some kind. But the improvement just kept
Michaela, what is your normal
yeah.
hours in that chair? So you said that's 7, 8 hours in the chair. What's your normal that you could take on a normal basis?
Oh gosh, an hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Mhm.
Okay.
And
And
that's
then
why
you came,
I couldn't drive myself to my doctor's appointments. I'm just outside Los Angeles because, you know, like I said, I you know,
yeah.
I end up on the side of the freeway.
And then
So
we had the booth the next day. I mean, we were there for 3 days. You came back in the booth with all this energy, and you were
yes,
like, "I can't wait to tell you." So, yeah, go ahead.
I know. I get excited about things, which is my problem, which is why uh, I'm really glad I took the time with the patch to really soak in exactly what it was doing for me. No, so by the very next day, my energy levels had doubled. I would say they doubled, and I just felt happier. You don't feel like there's anything in you at all. It's just this overall feeling of hyper wellness almost. And then, so that was a beginning of October, gradual improvements, small but consistent. And Thanksgiving was when I took my first 20-minute walk with my husband. We were in the country, so it was a little path, quiet. And I had to hold on to him still, you know, held his arm. But I've been the best I could walk prior was I had a really good shuffle going on. You know, I couldn't lift my knees up off the ground, so maybe I could lift my heel up by maybe 2-3 inches off the ground. I could without helping my leg, you know, to lift my knee. And I had started developing a gait, like a normal gait. And so when, you know, my husband said, "Oh, you're walking kind of sexy." I'm like, "Well, I'm walking like a normal person, so it's a good start." And so that was Thanksgiving. And this is when things started peaking for me, that I wasn't doing anything else besides the patch. Everything else had stayed the same, except the only thing that was changing was, uh, just to preface too, I've had over 20 spine surgeries. I have an intrathecal pain catheter in my spine. I have spinal stimulators, north and south, just saying we've been through the gamut. I started coming down on my pump. So as far as the concentration in my intrathecal pump, it's a machine in my stomach. You feel like a gas tank. The capacity is 5,000 micro, whatever it is. I'm the expert here, right? And so maybe I was halfway up in concentration when I started the patch. And I kept coming down every time I go in. And so wherever we're at now, I'm at 130 in my concentration. And so in July, I now have a choice. I have to either replace my pump because I've had it for 5 years, or get rid of the pump. And that's what I'm trying to do now. So we've taken the stair lift out of our house that's been there for 8 years. Um,
That's that last 10%.
yeah, I'm
That's a,
selling. Selling my mobility as of today. We got the quote on that. I'm now going to the grocery store, and I'm walking into the store. And I'm at about 35, 40 minutes now. I've seen the science, I've seen the magic of orthobiologics. I've seen it work over and over and over again with the veterans that we facilitate. I know what I've experienced, but our thing at VIP, at Veterans in Pain, is creating an egalitarian community for orthobiologics access, especially for our veterans, right? So we facilitate orthobiologic procedures. We're in the circle of groundbreaking science. And I've never seen an application that was so simple, that's not putting anything in your body. I like to say I know how it works. I do conceptually, but I haven't never seen or experienced results like this, except for my very first IV systemic adipose-derived stem cell transplant. That was June 28th of 17. But I had really hit that wall. So that was my wall, is where I was at on October 5th. And it was like on October 6th, somebody started taking the brick out of the wall. and then taking another brick out of the wall, another brick out of the wall. So sorry, I was in bed for 6 years with spinal contractions in my cord that were labor contractions in my cord. I had over 20 spine surgeries, procedures. Been at that point where I couldn't put any pressure on the tailbone because it would start these spasms and I'd be hospitalized for it. So I've been through that. So when you get to a certain point, like 70% increase in quality of life, that's amazing, right? And then you want more, you start to feel guilty about it. I'm so selfish, like I got that far, but I consciously did not even try to imagine being able to do what I can do now because I could not be disappointed. I needed to accept where I was, right? That dirty windshield, like you get used to it. So the patch is the most unexpected thing in the world for me, especially coming from the place where anything that we're going to use with our veterans in our program or offer them, I have to try it first. Number one, I'm an excellent candidate because I'll be able to tell if something's working or not. But I also need to know that it's effective. So not only have, we now, okay, this is effective. So, but now we started reaching out to the company and the CEO, we had a meeting with the CEO, David Schmidt, and he is so engaged with the human aspect of the science and implementing it and sharing it. We're going to be launching a fundraiser so that our veterans have access to these patches. The physicians that we're working with that have started utilizing the patches as an adjunct measure to procedures, they're seeing an average of 30% increase in the quality of the results of these procedures. So we're launching a clinical study as well with LifeWave, and we're going to be assessing the systemic inflammatory levels. That is the nature of chronic pain. Chronic pain is technically a centralized systemic autoimmune disease of the nervous system. It's based upon pain. 90% of pain and disease is inflammation. So unless you can start attacking that first, you're not going to get very far, especially when it comes to depression, to PTSD and TBI. Attacking systemic inflammation, I can only see, just because of what I've experienced psychologically, emotionally, just this lifting. I feel like 100 pounds have been lifted just around me. This is what we're going to study, is the anti-inflammatory effects in the brain as well.
Yeah. So, but can you just do what you did for me, Peter and Jackson, please? Just, guys, from October in a wheelchair to now,
we need to play music or something. I don't know. It's exciting. It's just exciting. It's a gift to share. It's the easiest thing in the world. Like when Patrick asked me to speak, it's just the easiest thing in the world. It's just, you keep something close to yourself, and I did it on purpose for quite a while. And then it's just, why? I mean,
what was the cause of your spinal condition? What caused it?
Sure. Yeah. How long do we have?
A quick explanation,
1 minute.
a quick one.
I don't know that that's possible. Long story short, was in my driveway. I had a car accident when I was 19, so my lumbar spine was very fragile, but was unloading the groceries out of the back of my car, and the electric tailgate was coming down as I was coming up, and the corner lodged itself in my temple. And so instead of releasing, it just stuck there. And so the force going up completely inverted my cervical spine and blew out my lumbar spine. And the second surgery that I had to correct things was cervical and lumbar at the same time, which they're never supposed to do. And so they flipped me on the table to do that, and it over traumatized my spine. So one thing led to another, and I developed, this is important though to know, there's 2 conditions in the world that are considered the suicide diseases. One of them is arachnoiditis, The other one is CRPS, Complex Regional Pain Syndrome. If anybody wants information on these, you can message me, feel free to. But one puncture to the dura of your spinal cord, an epidural going in to have a baby can cause this. A mom within weeks can lose the use of her legs. So when you interrupt within the dura, the lining of the dura within the cord, there's an autoimmune response. Again, chronic pain is an autoimmune disease. And so what the body does, it reacts with inflammation and develops plaque around the nerves within the dura. I'll just kind of leave it with that. But the symptoms are such as one of the most underdiagnosed yet most common chronic pain diseases that there is. But I'm happy to share any of that. So then years of surgeries, in bed for 6 years. I blogged a lot, and then had my stem cell transplant. Saved my life. Absolutely. Stem cells are, God, I mean, seriously, like the pharmaceutical company would go out of business.
Has your skin changed? Has your hair changed? The beauty part of this?
Total 180. Total 180. And you know what the weirdest thing is the skin is a lot better. I'm feeling less lines in my forehead. I just turned 50. But I would always get these cracks in the sides of my mouth, chronic, like just, there's worse problems in this world right now, but they just wouldn't go away ever. And they're gone. They've been gone since about the middle of December. I haven't had one come back. I've had them for 20 years. So that was crazy. Just please, I know when something sounds so simple, it's too good to be true. I did that for 6 years laying in bed thinking that's too simple. I thought stem cells were snake oil. And I suffered for 6 years. My kids lost their mom because it was too easy. It was too simple. How could that touch this? So I don't know, that if you just keep that concept in your brain, that this is so much more than anybody can even imagine this field is. I really don't have words for it. I wish I'd done it years ago. So this is all part of it.